Little girls of a certain age respond to romance. There's nothing overtly sexual. Donnie was a sort of boy that little girls could fantasize. You could take home to Mum, and Mum would like him, and Granny would like him, and Dad would like him, and you could sit and look at his cute little face over the tea table, and you know that he wouldn't show you up, and you'd know that he'd respect you, and he'd be nice, and he wouldn't try and push you too far.
On the plane over to London, I was informed that we're going to have some problems. And I always loved it when they said, "We got problems." I always thought, oh, this is great. So there's going to be a lot of people there. I had no idea what they meant by a lot of people. And they said, "We want you to get off the plane last. You know, we'll get everybody off the plane." And the whole plane was like buzzing about this. What's going on? What's going on? Because people were running back and forth, talking to us about all these people that are showing up at Heathrow.
We suggested to Tony Prince that he might like to give out the flight number and where they were arriving, because we knew that we would never get that cooperation from the British Airports Authority.
We weren't allowed to do that.
The British Airport Authority went mad and summoned us to a meeting, which I remember vividly in their offices, when we said, we don't understand how this could have happened. I mean, he wasn't supposed to have done that.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is your royal ruler, Tony Prince. Keep real cool, and in about 25 minutes from now, if the flight comes in on time, the boys will be waving at you all and blowing your kisses, all right?
And they were saying, well, there's nothing for it, you've got to divert the plane to Luton.
Oh,
we said,
we didn't want
you're
that.
crazy. I said, you're crazy. If the record company or the British Airports Authority puts out a statement that the Osmonds plane is being diverted to Luton, no one will believe you. And they will stay at your airport and they will create havoc at your airport because they will be angry.
That's right.
We got off the plane, and there were all these Bentleys waiting for us. And I looked at all these people waiting on the observation decks. It was a weird time. Just weird, just all these flashes going off, and it was exciting.
The Osmonds actually didn't know what we did. I don't know if they thought it happened naturally. I honestly don't know. I've never asked them
Well,
the
they
question.
sold records, they were popular, but, you know, exactly, they did what they were told, in a sense. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they
not
did,
meant badly, but they, you know, they just
And they were so
followed the
cooperative,
programme, didn't they?
I mean, in fact, David and I used to plan everything. We planned everything.
I love you, darling Donny. You're my very life. I dread the day when you'll take yourself a wife. My dreams will be shattered, my world fall apart. So please, let me see you, soothe my aching heart.
Well, I always decided if Donny Osmond wasn't going to ask me to marry him, then I'd marry Jay. He was my second best. I always decided, you know.
You've been my favourite since I was 11 years old.
Is that right? What was it about Donny? He was he was the cutest. I mean, no beating around the bush. And I think he still is, isn't he? He's a good-looking chap still.
The effect that it had on the magazine was extraordinary, because suddenly, every time you printed anything about the Osmonds, and particularly about Donny, but it was also the whole family, the circulation just immediately shot up. And we went from something like about 500,000 to 1 million in over 8 months.
Please.
They were always singing to me, that's what you felt. Although the next day at school, you'd go in and you'd talk about it and you'd say, oh, wasn't it wonderful? And then they did that song and that was so lovely. So it was something that you could share with your friends. Absolutely. They weren't, I was never sort of selfish about it, but they were talking to me.
Good evening. On Tuesday this week, I think I heard what must have been the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life. Just listen to it for a moment.
I remember one girl that mailed herself to him. And I remember another girl that chopped down the back exit door of the hotel, forced her way up with an axe. And my father goes, relax, relax, she can see him, she can see him. And so he took her over to the room, knocked on his hotel door. He opened it, and she passed out. I thought, she went to all that effort, and then she had to faint?
We had Led Zeppelin's sound system, and we still couldn't hear us. We went down as one of the loudest bands, not because of the music we were pumping out, because all the audience was screaming this way, and the decibels were so loud that it was just very, very intense. In fact, it's caused us to lose a little hearing ourselves. Wayne's lost this side, and I've lost this side, because I was on stage right.
It's disguise time, guys. Hey, Fuji, bring us the beer.
Poor little Donnie, he didn't go anywhere at all. But we said, Donnie, look, we just did the big concerts at the TV station. You go up in the window, and when you go up in the window, they'll all scream, and the rest of us will go out the back door and get into a taxi cab that was all arranged.
Let's go.
On cue, Donnie came to the window, and thousands of kids came running over screaming. The rest of us went through the back doors. We crawl on our hands and knees, and we crawl through this Chinese restaurant. People didn't know what the heck was going on. We're crawling through the Chinese restaurant. We finally go out the back door, and there's the cab waiting. We jump in the cab, and we say, go! And the guy says, where? We had the wrong cab.
These beards saved us. Boy, I tell you, this situation could be dangerous.
Yeah, but what great danger.
I was trampled several times, and I just wish there was a way we could have avoided a lot of that. It was really dangerous. Yeah, it was more dangerous than people really thought. Because, I mean, you take 150 girls at one time on a car. It doesn't feel good.
They get hysterical. They got no heed of traffic. They will just run straight out into the road, willy-nilly.
We come ripping through part of the town just in time for a couple of little gals to run in front of our car, and we hit them. We said, stop, and they couldn't stop.
I went to the hospital to have x-rays, but that's all.
And there was some compensation for it, wasn't there?
Yeah,
What
a
happened?
telephone call and 2 tickets for the concert.
Telephone call from whom?
Donnie.
Sighs again. What did he say? What did he say to you?
Well, I don't really know. I just couldn't hear him. I was crying.
Everybody found out where we were, and I saw this sea of people coming towards me. And all I heard was, run! And I couldn't outrun these fans, and they grabbed me and ripped it was my favorite shirt. They ripped my shirt off, and this one girl, she wanted my autograph, and she wanted to hug me. And she didn't know which one to go for first. And so she had her pen in her hand. And she wrapped her arms around me, and the pen went right there and went all down my face. Didn't cut it open completely, but I almost lost my eye from that moment.
What state is it that they're in? That
This
you're
is
talking
a
about?
state of acute hysteria, really, made by stimulating the nervous system in which the computer, I mean, everybody's listening to me now and is checking out what I'm saying and computing what I'm saying. The computer gets knocked out, and you simply take on the pattern of your surroundings. So if somebody starts screaming, somebody else starts screaming. And the whole thing becomes infectious. And this chap said, for instance, that at the end of that program, you know, the other night,
The concert, yes.
half the people have passed water on the floor.
You wouldn't be frightened off by actual hysterical reactions among girls listening to you?
Not as long as people didn't get hurt, then it'd be all right.
Yes.
I think it's good. I think, you know, they can get a lot of things out of them at that kind of concert. I think it's all right.
Move